Greetings. This video was created to show teachers how they can use the resource Improve to help plan and prepare for NAPLAN with their students. Improve, just for those who are interested, is essentially a program that's set up as an extension of Scootle, which is a resource program, and essentially it allows students to access online digital tests which replicate the questions of past NAPLAN exams in the area of literacy and numeracy. So we're looking today at how you can actually create your own class and how you can invite students to use this resource. Now, to begin, the most important thing we need to have is a Scootle login. Now, Scootle logins can be a little bit tricky to get hold of on the grounds that you can't just log in and start using it straight away. Generally, once you have signed up, you usually have to seek permission through either a coordinator of your type of education, whether it be Catholic or DEX. Otherwise, you may have someone on site who actually has the ability to grant you permission. In this case, we're actually starting from already having a login. So we're actually skipping a step, and if you don't have one of these Scootle logins, please make sure that you track one down. So in this case, I'm going to start by logging in with my account onto Scootle, and in this case I'm just putting in my details, which is my email address, and just typing in my password, and that's going to allow me to log in. Now once I'm logged in, you can see at the top it's got my email address there, and to get to the Improve site, which is actually a separate site, all I need to do is just come across and click Improve, and this is going to take me over to the main testing site. Okay, so it's just processing and logging in, and here I am in the main section. Welcome to Improve, thank you very much. So what we're going to look at today is actually creating a series of tests within a class that your students can then access to practice. And of course the purpose for this is really just to make people, your students in particular, feel more comfortable with their NAPLAN questions, the layout, and all kinds of things like that. And there's some great tools that you can use. If I jump up to classes, the first thing I need to do is actually create a class. So if I click on this particular icon, it'll take me to this screen, and in this case I'm going to start a class called Year 9 English. You might be an English teacher or a maths teacher, anything along that line, and of course I can put a description in there about what I'm expecting from the students. Once I've put that in, I just hit next, and it will take me to this next point. Wonderful. Now I can add students specifically, so I can add students and their names, but at the same time I can also have students add themselves, and for time saving sake that's really what I'm going to be doing. In this case, however, what I'm looking to do is to create a series of NAPLAN tests, and then my students will actually be able to enter them at their own pace. Now the first thing I need to recognize is that the class I just created, which is called Year 9 English, has its own unique code, and in order for students to enter my class they need to enter that code. Now while we're on the subject of codes, each test I create also has its own unique code. I'll explain all of this as we go, but it just goes to show that there are some important pieces of information to write down on the way. So if you are actually following along with me, make sure you've got a pen or paper nearby just in case. So in order to find the NAPLAN tests, the easiest way to do so is just to go up into this search bar here. If I click on tests and simply type in NAPLAN, you'll find that straight away it's going to take me to a whole bunch of different tests here. You can see there's the 2009 Year 3 reading test. This is the 2011 Year 9 language convention test. Here's the 2011 Year 9 numeracy test, and you can see there's Year 7s and Year 5s and a whole bunch of different tests that I can utilize. Now in this case I'm only working with a Year 9 class, so to filter out some of these I'm just going to go over to the side here and I'm just going to select Year 9. Okay, and what that means is when I apply the filters, it means it's taken me only to the Year 9 tests, which certainly makes things easy. I can also filter it so that it gives me only the English or only the maths, or in some cases science sections as well. But I'm just going to leave it as it is for the moment. So let's say that I want my students to practice a language conventions test. The most recent one available at this stage is 2011, and of course this is replicating the very same questions that were available in that year. Now in order to make the test available to our students, it's quite simple. I just need to come across to the side and select the Actions tab, and then I just need to click on Assign test, which you can see here. Once I click on that, it comes up here to a new screen, and I just have to decide which class I actually want to do it for. So in this case I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say Year 9 English, which was the class that I created before. It's got a couple of options down this side which are quite interesting in the way that they're set up. You can actually look at different types of information, but for this point we're better off just keeping this set onto rank 2. The confidence levels is a really great tool to add, which means that after they have answered a question, they can also give you a preview as to how sure they were about the answer, and this just lets you know whether or not they're guessing, and it's a great way to make them really think about it. As well as that, if I was being particularly picky, I could actually have students complete this within a time limit, so I could give them 1 hour or 2 hours or anything like that. So you might choose to give them this test with an unlimited time limit. You might choose to give them the same test or a similar test with a limited time limit to show them how it works on the actual day. As well as that, I just need to click over here. I can use a primary theme or a secondary theme. This doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the content of the test at all, but it does mean it's a little bit more suited to their age group, mostly in the graphics department. So I'm just hitting secondary. As I go down, okay, this gives me the instructions that will be available for students, so I can put these more specifically if I'd like to, but generally I'm just going to keep them the way they are. Once I'm ready to go, I just click Assign Test, and this is where I'm going to need my piece of paper. While that's loading, I'll just quickly make sure that that's ready to go. Now, in order to use this most effectively, the best thing you can do is really go through a step-by-step process with your students, and actually printing them off a copy of this information here can be a really handy thing. So if you actually grab all of this, copy it and paste it into a Word document, that's a really great way to go about it. Now in this case, here's the two codes that are really important. The first thing my students are going to need to do when they enter the class is actually enter my class code, which is for my Year 9 English class. Once they have entered the class, their name will then show up on my list, and once they've done that, it'll ask if they have a test code, and of course this is the next one down. Once they enter the test code, the test will begin for them. Now, like I mentioned, I've given them an unlimited amount of time to do this, so they might do it in a lesson, but they could also practice it at home. If I was to assign another test, then this class code would stay the same, but they would generate a different test pin. So let me quickly go over that. Reviewing some of the steps, I go back up to the top. In this case I'm going to search again. This time I might want them to do the reading test. I'm going to type in NAPLAN. Okay, I'm going to filter the year level so that it's only looking at Year 9s, and I'm going to click Apply Filter. And I'm going to go down here until I find the 2011 Year 9 reading test with 50 questions. I'm going to select Actions and I'm going to click Assign Test. I'm going to follow through all of these same options as before, make sure it's going to Year 9 English, keep going down, keep everything the same. All of this looks fine. I'm going to say Assign Test. And as this loads, all I need to take down for this piece of information is the specific test code. So this section here is the same as it was before, but this code is unique to that reading test. So essentially, if I was looking to create a worksheet based on this, I could highlight this section and paste it into a document, and then I could highlight this section and paste it as well, but I could grab just the code from all of the different tests that I do, and I could paste that at the bottom and just say repeat the second section using a different code. And of course that will mean that they can access as many different types of NAPLAN preparation tests as you would like to have them do. Now once they've completed these tests, you can then look at their results, you can look at their confidence levels, and there's some great work you can do with that data. But the most important thing, I think, is that the students have a feeling of understanding as to what questions are going to be asked in the test and how that's going to ask them to respond. So hopefully this has given you a bit of confidence to set up your own online access improved software, and as I mentioned, this is a really great way to prepare students for the upcoming NAPLAN tests. Thanks.